chosen one. There's something different about this moment, and you've been feeling it in ways you can't fully explain. Maybe it's been a quiet heaviness in your chest, or a strange sense of anticipation that comes and goes without warning. You've noticed how certain thoughts keep returning, how certain emotions rise without a clear reason, as if something unseen is gently trying to get your attention. Even in silence, there's been a feeling like something is shifting just beneath the surface of your life. And tonight, more than ever, that feeling feels closer. Not louder, not overwhelming, just closer, as if something is being prepared with your name on it. And part of you already knows this isn't random, because what you've been experiencing lately, the reflections, the emotional waves, the moments of stillness, they've all been leading somewhere. They've been soft signals guiding you inward, asking you to slow down just enough to notice what most people overlook. There's a quiet truth unfolding here, and it hasn't arrived all at once. It's been building. You see, sometimes what is meant for you doesn't come with noise or grand announcements. Sometimes it arrives gently, almost like a whisper wrapped in emotion. And if you've been paying attention, you may have felt that whisper brushing against your thoughts late at night, or settling into your heart during unexpected moments of calm. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. Because there is something being sent toward you, something deeply personal, something that carries your name in a way only you would recognize. But here's the part most people miss. It doesn't always arrive the way you expect. It doesn't always feel like excitement at first. Sometimes it comes through emotion, through release, through tears that don't seem to belong to any single moment. And you may have found yourself wondering why you've been feeling more sensitive lately, why certain memories or thoughts suddenly feel heavier or even more meaningful. There's a reason for that, because what is being prepared for you requires space, and that space is being made within you first, not through force but through feeling. It's almost as if something greater is speaking, not with words but through emotion, through a softness that reaches you in the quiet moments, asking you to listen differently, not with your ears but with your awareness. And if you pause long enough, you can sense it. There is a kind of presence in this moment. Gentle, patient, deeply aware of everything you've been carrying. Nothing about your journey has gone unnoticed. Every silent struggle, every time you held yourself together when no one else saw, every moment you chose to keep going even when you didn't understand why, it has all been witnessed. And now something is responding. Not loudly, not urgently, but sincerely. It's being sent with a kind of care that doesn't rush, a kind of intention that feels almost sacred in its timing. And you may not see it yet, but you're beginning to feel it. That subtle shift in your energy, that quiet pull towards something you can't fully explain, that sense that something meaningful is approaching, even if you can't name it. That's how it begins. Not with certainty, but with awareness. Not with answers, but with the feeling that something is about to make sense in a way it never has before. And the most surprising part, it's arriving in a way that understands you completely. Not just the version of you that the world sees, but the deeper, quieter parts, the parts that have been holding on, waiting, hoping in silence. Because what is coming isn't just for your situation, it's for your heart. And that's why it feels so different. So if tonight feels a little heavier, a little more emotional, a little more still than usual, don't rush to escape it. Stay with it. Because within that softness, within that quiet, something is being placed into your life in a way that only you could receive. And even if it comes gently, even if it arrives through feeling before form, you'll know. Not all at once, but deeply. Chosen one, this moment isn't here by accident. And neither are you. And as you sit with this awareness just a little longer, you may begin to notice that what once felt like confusion is slowly turning into a quiet kind of clarity. Not the kind that explains everything at once, but the kind that gently reassures you that there is meaning behind what you've been feeling, even if you can't fully put it into words yet. And that in itself is part of the unfolding. Because what is being sent to you is not rushed. It does not arrive in chaos. It moves with a calm precision that aligns with the deeper rhythm of your life. And even the delays you once questioned, even the moments that felt like nothing was happening, were actually creating the exact conditions needed for this to reach you in the right way, at the right time, when your heart is able to recognize it. And maybe now you're starting to understand why certain things had to fall silent, why some connections grew distant, why certain paths didn't open no matter how much you tried, because what is meant for you cannot arrive into a space that is already full. And so, without you even realizing it, space was being made, gently, carefully, almost protectively. There is a quiet intelligence in this process, nothing wasted, nothing overlooked. Even the emotions you didn't understand were serving a purpose. Even the tears that came without explanation were clearing something unseen. And this is where it becomes even more meaningful. Because what is approaching your life is not just something you receive, it is something that recognizes you, something that meets you exactly where you are, without requiring you to be anything other than what you have become through all of your experiences, your patience, your endurance, your silent growth. It carries a kind of softness, but also a kind of certainty, and you may feel both at the same time. A calmness that settles into your chest, and a quiet anticipation that you can't quite shake, as if something is gently knocking, not on a door outside of you but somewhere within. And the more you listen, the clearer it becomes that this is not something distant anymore. It's near, closer than you think, closer than it has ever been. And yet it still chooses to arrive softly, not to overwhelm you, but to meet you in a way that feels safe, real, and deeply personal. Because this moment is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about something within you finally aligning with something that has been on its way for longer than you realize. And if you reflect carefully, you might see the signs that were always there. The subtle redirections, the quiet pauses, the unexpected emotions that seemed to come out of nowhere but were actually guiding you inward, preparing you to recognize this moment when it arrives. There is no need to chase it. No need to force understanding. All that is being asked of you right now is presence. To stay here, to feel, to notice. Because what is meant for you does not need to be chased when you are already in alignment with it. It finds you. And tonight, there is something about the stillness that feels different. Not empty, but full. Not uncertain, but quietly assured. As if something has already begun, even if you haven't seen the full shape of it yet. And that is the beauty of it. It doesn't need to reveal everything at once. It simply needs to arrive. And when it does, you will not question it. You will feel it in the same place where all of this has been unfolding, deep within, where words are not necessary, where understanding comes not from thinking, but from recognizing. So stay open. Not in a way that strains or searches, but in a way that allows, because something is already moving toward you, gently, intentionally, carrying with it a kind of meaning that only your life could hold. And when it finally reaches you, it won't feel like something new. It will feel like something that was always yours, finding its way back. If this quiet moment feels like it's touching something deep within you, you're not alone in it. You can gently subscribe to Born into Light and like this video to stay connected with these reflections. And if this message resonates, comment "I receive" softly below as a way of honoring what you're feeling. And as that realization begins to settle more deeply within you, you may notice that your resistance starts to soften in ways you didn't expect, as if the part of you that once needed answers is slowly learning to trust the unfolding without needing to control it. And in that quiet surrender, something within you opens just enough to receive what has been waiting patiently for the right moment to enter your life. Because there is a difference between forcing something to happen and allowing something to arrive. And what is meant for you has never required force. It has only required your readiness, your openness, and your willingness to remain present even when the path ahead was not fully visible. And that is exactly what you have been doing, even in moments when you thought you were lost. You were never lost. You were being guided in ways that didn't need to be obvious. And now, as everything begins to draw closer, There is a quiet sense that something is aligning not just around you, but within you, as if your thoughts, your emotions, and your awareness are slowly coming into harmony with something greater, something that understands timing in a way the mind cannot fully grasp. This is where the shift becomes undeniable. Not loud, not dramatic, but deeply certain. You may find yourself feeling more still than usual, more reflective, more aware of the present moment, as if distractions are losing their hold on you and something deeper is asking for your attention, not through urgency, but through a calm and steady presence that feels almost grounding. And within that grounding, something begins to take shape, not all at once, but gently, piece by piece, moment by moment. And even though you may not be able to see the full picture yet, there is a quiet knowing beginning to form, a sense that what is coming carries a kind of meaning that goes beyond surface-level change, something that touches the deeper layers of your life, the parts that have been waiting for something real, something honest, something that feels aligned with who you truly are becoming. Because this is not just about receiving something external, it is about recognizing something internal. A connection, a realization, a moment of clarity that feels both new and familiar at the same time. And this is why it has been approaching you so gently, because it is not here to disrupt you, it is here to meet you, to match the pace of your growth, to arrive in a way that feels natural, almost as if it was always part of your path, simply waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And that moment is closer than it has ever been. You can feel it in the way your awareness has shifted, in the way certain things no longer affect you the same way they used to, in the way you've started to see through what once confused you, and in the way your energy has begun to settle into something more grounded, more present, more real. These are not small changes, they are signs, quiet, subtle, but deeply meaningful. And they are leading you towards something that does not need to be chased, something that does not need to be questioned once it arrives, because it will carry a sense of recognition so clear that you will not need confirmation from anything or anyone outside of yourself. You will simply know, and that knowing will not come from logic, it will come from alignment, from the quiet place within you that has been listening all along, even when everything around you felt uncertain, even when you questioned the direction, even when you wondered if anything meaningful was truly unfolding. It was. It always was. And now, as you stand in this moment, there is a gentle invitation being extended to you, not through pressure, not through urgency, but through presence, asking you to remain open, just a little longer, to trust just a little deeper, to allow just a little more. Because what is arriving is not separate from you. It is connected to everything you have been becoming. Every step, every pause, every moment of growth you experienced in silence. It has all been leading here. And even now, as you listen, as you feel, as you begin to understand in your own quiet way, something is already moving closer. Something that carries your name, not in words, but in resonance, in recognition, in a way that only your heart can truly understand. So don't rush this moment. Don't try to define it too quickly. Let it unfold. Let it reach you. Because some things are meant to be experienced, not explained. And this is one of them. Chosen one, you are not waiting for it anymore. You are meeting it. And in that meeting, something within you begins to settle in a way that feels both unfamiliar and deeply comforting at the same time. As if a part of you that has been quietly searching no longer needs to search, not because everything has been revealed, but because something essential has finally been felt. And that feeling carries a quiet certainty that cannot be easily shaken. It's not loud, it's not overwhelming, and it doesn't demand your attention in dramatic ways, but it stays with you, gently, consistently, like a presence that understands you without needing explanation. And the more you allow yourself to remain in that space, the more you begin to realize that this moment is not about something outside of you arriving to complete you, but about something within you finally recognizing what has been aligned with you all along. Because there is a kind of peace that only comes when you stop trying to force clarity and instead allow understanding to rise naturally. And that is exactly what is happening now, slowly, quietly, without pressure, as if everything is unfolding at a pace that honors not just your circumstances, but your inner readiness. And maybe this is why things had to happen the way they did. Maybe this is why certain chapters felt longer than they needed to be, why certain questions remained unanswered, why certain emotions lingered without resolution. Because what is arriving now could not have been received by the version of you that existed before. It needed this version of you, the one who has felt deeply, reflected honestly, and remained open even when it would have been easier to close off. There is strength in that kind of openness. A quiet strength that does not need recognition, but carries a depth that shapes everything it touches. And that strength is part of why this moment feels the way it does. Not rushed, not uncertain, but grounded in something real. As if everything is finally beginning to make sense. Not in a way that answers every question, but in a way that removes the need for those questions to be answered in the first place, because you can feel that something meaningful is already in motion. And the more you stay present with that feeling, the more it expands. Not outwardly at first, but inwardly. Like a gentle widening of your awareness. A quiet deepening of your awareness. A quiet deepening of your understanding. A sense that you are not just observing this moment, you are part of it. Fully, naturally, without needing to try. And this is where everything begins to shift in a more noticeable way. Because when you stop reaching for what is meant for you and instead allow yourself to stand in alignment with it, there is a kind of flow that begins to take over. A movement that feels effortless, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening in the way it was always meant to. And you may start to see it in small ways first. Subtle changes, unexpected moments of clarity, a sense of ease where there was once tension. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations, quiet ones but real. And they are guiding you further into this experience, not by pulling you forward, but by meeting you exactly where you are, allowing each step to feel natural, each realization to feel earned, each moment to feel like it belongs to you. Because it does. This moment belongs to you. This unfolding belongs to you. And whatever is arriving, whatever is taking shape just beyond what you can fully see right now, it carries a kind of intention that reflects everything you have been through, everything you have felt, everything you have become. Nothing about this is accidental. Nothing about this is misplaced. It is precise in a way that only something deeply aligned can be. And as you continue to remain here, present, aware, open, you may begin to notice that the feeling you once questioned is now becoming something you trust, something you recognize not as uncertainty, but as a quiet form of guidance that has been with you all along. It never left. It was simply waiting for you to notice it. And now that you have, everything begins to feel different. Not because the world around you has suddenly changed, but because your connection to this moment has deepened, and through that connection, you are able to experience what is arriving in a way that feels real, grounded, and undeniably yours. So let it come, without resistance, without expectation, just with presence. Because what is meant for you does not need to announce itself loudly to be real. It simply needs to reach you in the way that only you could understand. And when it does, it will not feel like something separate from your journey. It will feel like the next natural step within it. Chosen one. This is not the beginning of something unfamiliar. This is the continuation of something that has always been quietly guiding you here. And now you are ready to walk into it. And as you take that step, even if it is not a physical movement but a quiet inner shift, there is something within you that begins to respond almost immediately, as if a deeper part of your awareness has been waiting for your permission to fully open. And in that opening, you may feel a subtle release, like something you've been holding without realizing is finally loosening its grip. Not all at once, but enough for you to notice, enough for you to feel the difference. Because when you truly begin to walk into what is meant for you, there is no need for struggle to prove its value. There is no need for confusion to justify its arrival. There is only a quiet sense of rightness that settles into your being, not loudly, but deeply, in a way that feels steady and real. And this is where the experience becomes even more meaningful, because what you are stepping into is not just a moment. It is a continuation of alignment, a flow that begins to carry you forward in ways that feel natural rather than forced. where things begin to connect without you having to overthink them, and where understanding begins to form without you having to search for it. It is a different way of moving through life, softer but stronger, calmer but clearer, and you may start to notice that the need to question everything begins to fade, not because you suddenly have all the answers, but because you are no longer disconnected from the part of you that recognizes truth when it is present, and that recognition becomes your guide in a way that feels quiet but incredibly steady. Because this is what happens when something meant for you finally reaches you. It doesn't create chaos, it creates clarity, even if that clarity comes gently, even if it unfolds over time. And as this continues, you may begin to see how everything you went through was not leading you away from something, but toward something, shaping your awareness, refining your understanding, preparing you to meet this moment in a way that feels grounded and real, rather than overwhelming or uncertain. There is a kind of care in that preparation, a kind of intention that cannot be rushed. And now that you are here, now that you are beginning to feel this shift more clearly, there is no need to go back to questioning whether you are on the right path, because the path is no longer something outside of you. It is something you are walking from within, and that changes everything. Because when you walk from within, you are no longer reacting to what happens around you. You are responding from a place of awareness that remains steady regardless of what unfolds, and that steadiness becomes the foundation for everything that follows. And what follows carries meaning. Not surface-level meaning, not temporary change, but something deeper, something that continues to unfold layer by layer, revealing itself in ways that feel aligned with who you are becoming, not who you used to be, because you are not the same as you were before. Even if the changes have been quiet, even if they have gone unnoticed by others, you feel them in the way you think, in the way you respond, in the way you are able to sit with yourself without needing distraction. These are not small shifts. They are signs of growth that has taken place beneath the surface, shaping you into someone who is now able to receive what once may have passed you by. And this is why this moment feels different, because it is meeting a different version of you, a more aware version, a more grounded version, a version that no longer needs everything to make sense immediately in order to trust that something meaningful is unfolding. And that trust is what allows this next part to fully arrive, without resistance, without delay, because there is nothing left that needs to be cleared in order for it to reach you in the way it was intended. You have already done the quiet work. You have already moved through what needed to be moved through, and now what remains is not effort, but receiving, not chasing, but allowing. And in that allowing, you may begin to feel something settle into place in a way that feels undeniable, as if a piece of your life that was once uncertain is now finding its position within a greater picture, one that you are only beginning to see, but already starting to trust. And that trust will continue to grow, not because you force it to, but because each moment will gently confirm what you are beginning to feel now, reinforcing that you are exactly where you need to be, not by accident, but by alignment. So keep walking, not with urgency, not with doubt, but with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are no longer searching for what is meant for you. You are living within it. Chosen one. This is not something you have to reach for anymore. This is something you are already becoming. And the more you allow yourself to rest in that truth, the more you begin to notice that becoming is not something distant or unreachable, but something that is happening quietly in every moment you choose awareness over reaction, presence over distraction, and trust over fear. And in that gentle consistency, your life begins to take on a different texture, one that feels less forced and more aligned with a rhythm that was always there, simply waiting for you to meet instead of against it. Because becoming is not about transforming into someone entirely new. It is about remembering who you have been beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath the moments where you doubted your own path. And as that remembering deepens, there is a kind of return that takes place, not backwards, but inward, where everything begins to feel more connected, more meaningful, more real. And this is where the quiet miracle you've been sensing begins to reveal itself in a way that does not overwhelm you, but gently meets you, showing itself not through sudden change, but through a series of subtle realizations that begin to reshape how you see everything, including yourself. You may notice how certain worries no longer hold the same weight they once did, how certain fears begin to dissolve without needing to be confronted directly, how certain answers seem to arrive without effort, as if they were simply waiting for you to reach a place where you could receive them without resistance. This is how alignment feels. Not like something you chase, but like something that unfolds. And the more it unfolds, the more you begin to trust what you feel rather than what you fear, and that shift alone begins to change the way you move through your life. Not dramatically, but meaningfully, in ways that continue to build upon each other. Because what is happening now is not temporary, it is foundational. It is setting something into motion that will continue to grow, continue to deepen, continue to reveal itself in ways that feel increasingly clear as you move forward. And even if you cannot see the full extent of it yet, you can feel that it is real. That feeling is enough, more than enough, because it is coming from a place within you that recognizes truth without needing validation. A place that has been quietly guiding you through everything you have experienced, even when you were not fully aware of it. And now, that guidance feels closer, more accessible, more present, not because it has changed, but because you have become more open to it, more willing to listen, more able to recognize it when it speaks, not through words, but through the calm certainty that settles into your awareness when something is right. And that certainty is what will continue to guide you forward. Not in a way that removes all uncertainty, but in a way that allows you to move through uncertainty without losing your sense of direction. Because you are no longer relying solely on what you can see, you are also trusting what you can feel. And what you feel right now is leading you somewhere meaningful, somewhere that reflects everything you have been becoming. And as you continue on this path, you may begin to notice that the idea of waiting starts to fade, because you are no longer standing still hoping for something to arrive. You are already in motion, already experiencing the early presence of what is meant for you, even if it has not fully taken form yet. That is part of the process. The unfolding, the gradual revealing. And it is happening in a way that honors your pace, your growth, your readiness, ensuring that when everything becomes clear, it will not feel overwhelming, but natural, like something you have been gently stepping into all along. So there is no need to rush ahead, no need to look too far into the future, because what matters is already here, already moving, already aligning with you in ways that continue to deepen with each passing moment. And the more you remain present with that, the more you will begin to see that nothing about this is uncertain, even if it has not fully revealed itself yet, because the feeling within you carries a kind of quiet assurance that does not come from chance. It comes from alignment, from timing, from something that understands exactly when and how to reach you. And it has reached you, maybe not in its final form yet, but in its presence, in its beginning, in its quiet, undeniable arrival. Chosen one, you are not just witnessing this, you are living it. And with every step you take from this place of awareness, you are allowing it to become more real, more visible, more fully expressed within your life, not as something separate from you, but as something that has always been a part of your path, now finally unfolding in a way you can feel, trust, and understand in your own time. And as this unfolding continues, there comes a point where you no longer feel the need to hold on so tightly to what you once thought you needed, because something deeper begins to reassure you that what is meant to stay will remain, and what is meant to arrive will find you without struggle. And in that realization, your energy softens in a way that allows everything to flow more naturally. You begin to notice that you are no longer trying to force meaning out of every situation, no longer searching for constant signs to confirm your path, because there is now a quiet understanding within you that not everything needs to be explained in order to be trusted, and that trust becomes a kind of stillness you carry with you, even when life continues to move around you. And in that stillness, something beautiful takes root. A deeper connection to yourself, a clearer sense of direction that does not rely on urgency. a calm awareness that whatever is unfolding is doing so with intention. And this is where the miracle you've been feeling begins to settle into your reality, not as something sudden or overwhelming, but as something steady and real, something that integrates into your life in a way that feels natural, as if it has always belonged there. Because what is truly meant for you does not disrupt your peace, it deepens it. It does not confuse your path, it clarifies it. And most importantly, it does not ask you to become someone else. It meets you exactly as you are and gently grows with you from there. So as you move forward from this moment, there is no need to carry doubt about whether this is real or whether you are imagining what you feel, because the truth of it is not something that needs to be proven. It is something that will continue to reveal itself through your experience, through your awareness, through the quiet confirmations that meet you along the way. Let yourself trust that. Let yourself rest in that. Because you have reached a point where you are no longer being prepared. You are being aligned, and alignment does not feel like pressure. It feels like peace. A peace that stays with you even when things are still unfolding. A peace that reminds you that you are supported even in the unseen moments. A peace that quietly tells you that everything is moving exactly as it should. And maybe that is the most meaningful part of all of this. Not just that something is arriving, but that you are ready to receive it without fear, without resistance, without needing to control how it comes or when it fully reveals itself. Because now you understand something deeper, that what carries your name will never pass you by, that what is meant for your life will always find its way to you, no matter how long it takes, no matter how quietly it arrives, and that you have always been guided toward this moment, even when you could not see it clearly. So take a breath here, not to search, but to feel, not to question, but to allow. Because this is not a fleeting moment, this is a turning point within you. A quiet shift that will continue to shape how you see, how you feel, how you move forward from here. And as you continue on, step by step, moment by moment, you will begin to notice that what once felt distant is now becoming part of your everyday experience, not as something extraordinary, but as something deeply natural, something that fits, something that stays, something that grows with you. Chosen one, this is where everything begins to feel real in a new way, not because the journey is ending, but because you are finally walking it with understanding. And whatever comes next will meet you there. If this message has stayed with you in a quiet way, you can gently subscribe to Born into Light to continue walking through these moments together. And if it felt meaningful, you may leave a like, simply as a small reflection of what you received here.